an exciting time to be alive. So much good happening right now. We're going to tap into that right now. For those that are ready to really get grounded in and take back your power, we're going to do a support call and dive into all this amazing stuff that's coming up, all the challenges that are coming up, and I'm going to share some stuff with you about how to deal with this. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the comments. This is really going to be about, right now, there's a lot of dark ones are using every tool in the book to try and separate people, separate families, separate the feed from the unfeed, and just really bring everybody's frequency down. And we're not having any of it. You know, this is the greatest shift in recorded history. We came here for this. And I'm going to share some tools with you. No matter where you are in the world or what you're going through, to really begin to see with a heightened state of awareness as the conscious observer, and using the mindset of, isn't that interesting? To be able to step back with your awareness and not get sucked in and pulled down into these dramas. Because this is key. We're going through it, the light's already won, and that's it. This is just playing out. There's a lot of people that still have an opportunity to awaken. There's a lot of things that are being brought to the surface to show that the systems in power, whether it's the school system, the medical system, the systems of religion, the system of media, science, they've all been lying. It's all been inverted. And it's a pretty big shock in the beginning, you know? However, once you be able to begin to see, and if you're open enough to look at the fact that you chose to be here at this incredible point in history, in time, and that this is all part of your soul contract, I'm just going to invite you, no matter how you're responding to the information coming forth, to just step back and go, okay, am I open-minded enough that I might take something away from this call that I can use to navigate through what we're collectively going through right now and raise my level of conscious awareness? Because it's the only game in town. It's the only game in town. How are we going to navigate through this? And if you can do it with the mindset of, wow, isn't that interesting? Look at how they try and do what they do. And look at how certain people are just falling for it, not even questioning it. And then other people are like, hell no. I can completely see the program and I'm not falling for it. And so this is really key. So again, this is a Q&A support call. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in, because I can guarantee, hey Tanni, great to see you. Because I can guarantee you that a lot of people are watching this call in the replays, and a lot of this stuff might be new to them. They might be triggered. They might be feeling alone. They might be feeling like they're awake. Nobody else in their family, nobody else in their neighborhood, nobody else is awake but them. And when they can see that there's other like-minded people out here like us, it really helps them to ground in. So if you have any questions at all that pertain to healing, catching triggers, stopping judgments, the automatic programs that, you know, the ones that are in their last clinging bit of power are throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at people. in mainly the media. And if you're not, sucked into the media and you don't watch the television, they really can't get you. So super, super key. So let's talk about identifying and dismantling programs. First of all, what's a program? I label them as triggers in the book, Waking Up in a Dream. A trigger is anything from a judgment to a wound to an unhealed trauma, something that keeps reoccurring if we don't have the awareness and feel into it and go, oh, okay, I just had a judgment. Judgment, the biggest addiction on the planet. The whole 3D matrix is set up to have everybody judging. Republican against Democrat, White Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. You can just see the whole program everywhere. All advertising. You don't look good enough. You need to buy this product. You need this, you need that. It's just so in your face now, which is great because you get to see it. You get to go, okay, that is the only program that they have anymore. That's it. And it's exposed. So judgment, the biggest addiction on the planet. When people begin to go through the book or the digital course or journeying with me one-on-one, the first thing we do is we look at triggers. We look at wounds and we look at judgments. And we look at, is there anybody that we haven't forgiven yet, including ourselves? This is healing, and it needs to be done, and it's easy to do. That may trigger some people, but I take people through this process every single month, and it is easy to clear decades and decades of wounds or programs or unhealed stories. We really create our reality by the way we tell our story. So if we're still stating that this person did this to me and we don't realize yet, we don't have the awareness to understand that this was all part of our soul contract. We chose this. And if you're not to that point yet of awareness, I invite you to be open to that. Just go, okay, did I really choose all this shit? There's no way I would have chosen to come down and have all this crap and all these wounds and all this stuff and all these triggers. And, well, that's how I used to think. I was like, there's no way I would come down and choose to go through all this hell and be ready to blow my brains out and commit suicide several times in my 20s and 30s. Well, I did. And luckily I met my main mentor, Don Miguel Ruiz, and I became an apprentice. And I signed up for an apprenticeship. And what ended up happening, hey, Wayne, great to see you. Thanks for all your great energy. All the other wonderful people that are on here. So when I met Miguel, the biggest gift that he gave me that really, really opened up my awareness was he had the people that were apprenticing with him. We would meet once a month for 2.5 days, Friday through Sunday, and we'd lock in to this training center. And Miguel would tell his stories, and we would do what's called mirroring, where people would have a question, they'd have a wound, they'd have a trigger, they'd have something that was bothering them. And we would watch them get mirrored through the process. And the number one thing that created the biggest shift in my life was to realize that my belief system wasn't even mine. This is so huge. If you can get a hold of this, you can write this down, or you can just understand what I'm saying, that your beliefs aren't even yours. Yet, look at how the external, the dark ones are able to trigger people over and over and over by running a fear program on the television, in media, and they just run it over and over and over and over. And if you can't see it, then you're susceptible to it. And so what does it do? Whenever you have a judgment or a trigger, or you get triggered by something somebody says, it lowers your vibration and it keeps you stuck in 3D. Not only does it keep you stuck in 3D, but it guarantees that that same lesson is going to have to come back again. Because until you get it, you can't operate beyond it. Yeah, it's doing great. Hey, buddy, I'm doing great, thank you. Pumped up, excited. There's so much good stuff going on right now. And I'm getting to journey with the most incredible people and take them through this 30-day transformation that I do every month. And I only do it with 4 or 5 people because it takes a while, because we're going back and forth on this every day. And I have 2 spots available if there's anybody that's interested in really diving into this this month. Completely change your life. And there's a link for the book. And you can go to the website if you want to download the digital course. It's 4 hours of PowerPoint trainings that will get you to clearly see the program. And you'll just be like, oh my God, almost everybody is running this same program. And as soon as you identify it and use the tools, it changes everything for you. Everything. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in. So let's get back to the biggest addiction on the planet and how they're able to control everybody. Judgment. Judgment. So are you able to catch your judgments? It's that simple. All of your judgments are about you. Can you get on board with that? I'm sure there's people watching this that they're angry, they're pissed off at exes or relationships or people that owe them money or people in their family that have given in and decided to get the JAB. Just like didn't even question it, haven't even read the ingredients that are all toxic, 100%. It's mind-blowing that people do not even investigate this when it is the #1 thing that's not only affecting their life, but their DNA. Okay? So anybody on this call has the awareness to have already been able to investigate this stuff. But let's stick with judgments. Okay? Let's stick with judgments because every judgment is about you. It's not about the person that you're judging. They're just the gift. They're the mirror. Unless somebody is physically assaulting you in a relationship, then get out. Okay, so here's a great question. Thank you, Tom. Great question. So what about judgments towards corruption and crimes against humanity? I love this question because this allows us to go in and fine-tune the difference in the frequency between a judgment and an observation. Okay? So this is a perfect question. Okay? So yes, we've got to be able to see and identify the corruption and the crimes against humanity. Okay? And in many cases, take action. However, if we're triggered and our frequency is low, then they win. Say that again. If you're triggered, you're reactive, then your frequency is low and they win. When you can observe that, yes, there are pedophiles out there, there are corrupt politicians, there's all kinds of deception going on right now in religion, in the media, in science, in the medical industry, in the school system, brainwashing your children, putting them in fear for the rest of their life, okay? Now, when you can observe that and take action by holding your frequency in the state of, isn't that interesting? Okay, so I'm going to take action, but I'm not going to be triggered because because then my frequency is lowered and they win. So this is a great question. Does that make sense to you, Tanni? If you have any other question around that and you'd like me to fine-tune that, please ask, because this is very key and everybody has to understand this and go through it, because judgment is the biggest addiction on the planet. The reason why is because people end up having a belief system that's not even theirs. When Miguel got me to see that none of my beliefs were mine, none of them. Every single belief came from my parents, my grandparents, the school system. In my case, I grew up in private Catholic schools, starting out when I was in 2nd grade. And it was Judgment Day every day. The nuns were pissed off. They were angry, probably because they realized that they gave up their entire life for a lie. And they were probably aware that many of the priests were abusing children. So yeah, they were pissed. So yeah. So really understanding that your belief system isn't even yours. In fact, the belief system is a prison. It's a complete prison. Now you could have a belief that says unconditional love is the key. Yeah, that's not a prison. And I am a sovereign divine being. But any other belief that limits you, it's a prison. And you've got to be able to see how the ego reacts and gets triggered anytime something challenges either your belief system or a wound from childhood or growing up that still hasn't been cleared, still hasn't been forgiven. You still haven't, seen, oh, that happened and I didn't like it. That was really intense. That was traumatizing. But it was part of my soul contract. So I'm going to look at it with a different frame of mind now that I have a different level of awareness. And I'm going to forgive everybody involved. And if I can, I'm going to thank whoever delivered it to me for playing their role perfectly on my soul's contract and on my evolutionary journey. Super key. In many cases, if the trauma was really extreme, such as, sexual assault or childhood abuse or something, hey Nancy, great to see you, then you may not be at the point where you're going to thank those people. But you've got to forgive, and you've got to be able to see that this was part of your soul contract. Otherwise, you won't clear it, and you will keep creating and attracting people in timelines. Think of these little dots here as a timeline. These are all events in things that you can imagine. And if you can imagine, they already exist. That means they're already there and available to you. And the only thing that would keep one of these timelines, whether it's abundance, money, your ideal soulmate, your ideal thing that you do in life to share with people and attract abundance to you. The only thing that could keep that from showing up in your reality is you not being aligning your frequency with knowing that if you can think it and imagine it, it already exists here now. It's not in the future. Which brings me to a couple of other really, really key tools. Manifestation. Do you consciously and intentionally create your reality first thing every single morning before those 50 to 80,000 dots start running? The same old dots. I got to get up. I got to put on a pot of coffee. I got to get ready for work. I got to do this. I got to get the kids ready for school. I got to do. They'll just run and run and run. Now that doesn't mean they're all bad, but if you're going to create your reality every morning, like I do, and like I have everybody that goes through the course do, then the place where you want to do it is what we call 0 point. What is 0 point? 0 point is a space where I'm lying in bed. I just woke up out of what we call the sleeping dream. Because we're dreaming all the time, right? We're dreaming right now. When my mentor first told me that back in 2001, I was like, my ego was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I like that. Why? Because the ego couldn't control it. It wasn't sure. Are we dreaming or are we not? Well, get playful. Being playful like a little child is the highest frequency, and it will attract anything that you desire into your reality faster than being an adult, being all stiff and stern and, well, I'm not sure. Get playful like a little child, okay? So we just woke up out of the sleeping dream. My head is still on the pillow. First thing I do is I go and I love on my body. Every one of these trillions of cells that's been unconditionally loving me since I've been in the womb, without me even ever having to guide them and tell them what to do. If that isn't magic and unconditional love, I don't know what is. So the first thing I do is I love on every cell. I take some slow, deep breaths and I smile. Why? Because it raises my frequency. And I'm getting ready to magnetize in anything that I desire. Health, clients, playing at concerts in front of tens of thousands of people, traveling all over the world, attracting the most amazing people into my life, into my reality, people that come in to do the course. I'm magnetizing them in with my thoughts, my words, and my frequency as I'm lying in bed. And I'm envisioning everything is already here, not in the future. Got to get this. It's never in the future. It's here right now. We do not use negative spell words like want, wish, hope, try, need. Those are weak ass spell words. They tell the subconscious that it's not here yet. And so the subconscious goes, oh, it's not here yet. It's still in the future. You've got to understand that the subconscious only knows how to take direct, exact orders. It is here now. And it might take you a little bit of getting comfortable with basically tricking the mind. If one of your desired timelines or events isn't here yet, then you've got to play as if it already is. This is what children do. They don't go, oh, I'm going to fly on a rocket ship sometime in the future. I'm going to play with the fairies and the dragons sometime in the future. No, they go, I'm doing it right now. And there's no judgment in their mind going, well, it's not here now. No. That's why children are master creators, and that's why the school system dumbs them down starting in nursery school and first grade and teaches them what to think instead of how to think and create their reality. So this is what we're getting back to. This is what the book teaches you to do in the shortest amount of time. And I'm in the process of converting the book into a book for children, because they're getting programmed. They're getting lied to. And they're getting turned into little worker slaves. And we're not going to allow this to happen anymore. And now, many of them are getting turned into fear-based, subservient mask wearers, where it's harming their immune system. They're breathing in their own bacteria. And it's not doing anything but instilling fear into their mind. Okay. So, yes, there are no limits. And if you think you have any limits, then that's the program. And that's going to keep you stuck in the 3D matrix. So one of the first things we do when we go through this course and the PowerPoint trainings is, first of all, we start to eliminate all judgments. All judgments. And the only way you can do that is by becoming aware of the frequency of a judgment, a trigger, and a less than thought. When you start to do that, you start undoing decades of automatic reactions that you can see out there that most people are doing it. The television's got the majority of people out there automatically reacting, automatically in fear, automatically judging everybody else, and they're masterfully keeping everybody stuck. Well, not everybody. Not if you're watching this. 12 people, 12 comments. Thank you for whoever's on here. My audio has a constant wind sound going through it. Oh, thank you for telling me that. I have a fan turned on my computer. Let's see if that helps. My brother Robert Copini, another audio engineer, is on here. Yeah, so I just turned off my fan. Let's see if that helps. And I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want noise in here. There is a fan on. Okay, cool. Yeah, I turned off my fan because I keep a fan under my computer and I keep one on it. Hey, Deborah, great to see you. All right, so if anybody has any questions about anything I've shared, judgments, triggers, healing wounds, you got to heal the wound. Otherwise, it's going to keep you recycling and pulling in those same people that are on the same frequency in life and relationships. It could keep you from attracting abundance if you've got programs of lack. If you still think that money is difficult, money is hard to come by, money is tough. That was my program for a long time because that's what I was taught. My dad died when I was 7, and I grew up with my mom, and then my uncle, who was my dad's brother, and he had 8 kids. So the whole program around lack, around money, was lack, lack, lack. You need to finish the last P on your plate because money's hard to come by. That was mirrored to me over and over and over and over. And also, they did a real good job in the Catholic religion of making money very lack. But you needed to give it to the church if you were going to go to heaven. Yeah, how's that for a program? Yeah. So our thoughts are creating our reality. So if you haven't heard some of this stuff before, I invite you to go back and watch this again and take some notes, because there's a few things that need to happen. Number 1, healing any trigger or any wound, eliminating judgments from your program. You know, got to do it. You got to catch them. You got to be able to feel the frequency of a judgment and go, oh, what is this trying to teach me about me? Because if you don't clear it, you don't clear that program, you're going to keep attracting judgeaholics into your life. You may attract lack, and it's going to keep you stuck. So if you want to start attracting and manifesting that which you desire, consciously create your reality every single morning as soon as you wake up. Train yourself to do it. Because if you don't set your intention to do it, you're not going to do it. Because as soon as you wake up, your mind's going to start running. That's what it does. That's what the program does. So we're going to install a new program. And it's going to change everything in your life, in your relationships. This is the new 5D program and beyond. So any questions? That's a lot right there. If you get the download of catching judgments, stopping every time you have a judgment or get triggered, and stop. How do you stop? You take a breath. Because if you don't take a breath, the mind's going to run because it's going to have an emotional trigger. And that emotional trigger is going to try and trick the ego into telling you that you're right. You're not right. An emotional trigger doesn't mean you're right. Here's what it means. It means that you just had an emotional trigger from a past program that you're running. If you get this, it'll change everything in your life and relationships. It's a master class. It took me 20 years to put this together. Yep. Focus on breathing. Breathing brings you down into your heart, and it stops the trigger from running. If you don't stop the trigger from running, it's not going to get dismantled, and it's only a matter of time, days, weeks, or months, that it's that same trigger is going to come back again, and somebody's going to deliver it to you. Whether it's somebody in relationships, or somebody in life, or somebody in traffic, or whatever it is. You're very welcome. I'm glad that you're getting this, because this changed everything in my life. Everything. And it took me 17 years and over $100,000 to figure out how to put it into a simple process that anybody can do. Anybody can do it. All you got to do is just do it. Get the book, get the training, or come and grab one of the spots and go through an apprenticeship. It's life-changing. Thanks, Deborah. So if anybody have any questions about anything that's coming up around judgments, triggers, healing, creating your reality, the morning process, and also, you're welcome, brother. Thanks for your support. Thank you. What was I going to say? That's it. Creating your reality. Oh, the other thing. Okay, so we're committing to creating our reality first thing when we awaken, while our head's still on the pillow. We realize that we just woke up from the sleeping dream. Thanks, brother, about the process. Okay, so we do that first thing in the morning, but you really want to amplify what you're attracting into your reality, what you're manifesting. Set 15 to 20 alarms to go off on your phone. Everything's reversed in my camera, but it's inverted. Yeah, set 15 to 20 alarms to go off every hour. 8:11, 9:33, 10:44, 11:11, 12:12. Even if you catch 5 of them a day, when they go off, and you stop and you do the process wherever you are, in your home, in your car, at work, out at the park, out in nature, whatever, and the alarm goes off. Do the same thing that you did in the morning. Okay, stop, take some breaths. Love on your body. Where's my frequency right now? Am I in the future? Am I in the past? Or am I present? And I'm magnetizing in what I desire. Use your breath. Use your words. I'm pulling in right now the most incredible people to journey with. I'm pulling in the most incredible people to play music with. I'm pulling in the most incredible animals in nature around my place here. I go out and get in nature every day. I do the wild jungle dogs thing. Many of you have probably seen that. And you're basically resetting as many times throughout the day and having fun with the process. That's going to amplify and magnetize that which you desire into your reality faster and faster and faster. This is the only game in town. It's conscious awareness. What am I focusing on? Have I cleared my judgments and my triggers? Have I forgiven those that have wronged me? Am I loving on my family even though they may be running to get the poison? They may not understand why I'm not. Yeah, conscious awareness. Become the observer instead of the reactor. If you write that down on a piece of paper, I put up stickies when I was first going through this process because I needed to be reminded, you know. And going through the book and the course, you know, you get a clicker. You start to track how many times you catch your judgments and triggers every day. And I have a daily tracking sheet PDF that you print out. And you spend 5 minutes before you go to bed and you write in your number. How many times did I catch myself? How many times did I stop and ask, what is this trying to teach me and show me about me? This is mastery, folks. This is mastery. And we all need to learn it. Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah. It's a fine line between a judgment and an observation because there's still energy, you know, still get triggered. Like, you know, the people that are harming and killing children right now, that's a trigger. But if I get triggered and I allow the story to run, then it pulls down my frequency. So the key is to be able to observe and navigate through this dream without getting pulled down to their frequency, because that's what they're trying to do. It's keep you triggered, keep you in fear, keep you in judgment, keep you scared, keep you worried, keep you fighting with other people, keep you, you know, being reactive comments on Facebook. No, you observe, otherwise you lose. Okay, this is a great question, and thank you, Tanni, for opening this up. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's look at this statement. I love this. Can somebody really hurt you emotionally? They can't, unless you take in their poison of whatever they say or do. Now, when we're younger, we don't know this. And in a lot of past relationships, we feel like somebody screwed us over. My girlfriend screwed me. She ended up going out with my best friend, or, you know, she had sex with somebody else, or she stole money out of my bank account, or whatever, okay? Well, it was part of your soul contract. That person perfectly played their role. So when you have a higher level of awareness, you can go, oh, I didn't like that, but what's the $1 million question? What is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me? Because you can't be hurt emotionally if you're grounded in your heart and you've healed and you've cleared your wounds. Got that? If there's anything else around that, let me know. This is really key, and this is a key question. So I'm so thankful you brought it up, because everybody needs to understand this, and they need to understand how to process the triggers and the judgments. And yes, we signed up for one hell of a ride. I've said it many times. There's no way I would have signed up for this. I was suicidal many times. I was ready to leave the planet. And the only reason I didn't is because I didn't want to hurt my mom and my friends. So here I am. Here I am working with some of the most incredible people on the planet. I'm living at an incredible retreat center, taking people through this process, doing it online, and really kind of living a dream life. But you can do it too. Because I'll give you a secret. It's 5 times cheaper to live in Thailand than it is in the United States. I live in a 5-star resort for under $500 a month. I live in heaven. That's something you can ask me about later if anybody wants to get out of the US or whatever. But yeah, we signed up for one hell of a ride. So Rich had a question. So let me get to Rich's question. How does an empath deal with emotions from others that they don't want? You observe. You observe their 3D triggers and wounds. And then you remove yourself from hanging out with people, if you can. I mean, sometimes you can't, from family and stuff. But when you learn these tools, there is a way to approach these people, because if 2 people are triggered, there's not going to be any progress made. When there's relationships where the girlfriend says it's your problem and the guy says, no, it's you, and nobody has the awareness to see the wound, then there's not going to be any progress, no healing. But when you learn these tools and you go through the book or the digital course or journey with me, do an apprenticeship, learn these tools, in 30 short days or less, it changes everything in your reality. because it changes your internal frequency, which is attracting every single thing in your reality. That's why everybody needs to learn these tools. That's why this will be taught in first grade. There doesn't need to be any other grade other than first grade. This is all anybody needs to learn. And then if they want to learn how to, do architecture, play guitar, or, farming or whatever, then they can learn that. But they don't need to go through 12 years of programming to be programmed just so you can get a job and give up the best 65 years of your life so you can become what? What's the other spell word? Retired. It's a spell. Retired. To recycle being tired. You gave up your whole life chasing just to try and make money. Okay? So how does an empath, somebody that can really feel, deal with emotions from others that they don't want? Raise your level of awareness to where it doesn't affect you. And then very quickly, you're going to get to where you're going to have zero tolerance to be around people that are projecting their wounds. So what do? When somebody comes into my field and they project a wound, I don't respond with a trigger because I've trained myself to observe. So what I do is I mirror them gently. What do I mean by that? That means that I say, oh, I can see that you're triggered and you're in judgment. Would you like to clear that? And they either respond in one of two ways. They either go, oh, yeah, what do you see that I don't see? And then we can go in and clear it. But if they just stay triggered and they go, no, you're wrong, then I'm like, I'm out. See you later. And I distance myself from them. I have zero tolerance for anything less than love. This is a great mantra to write down if you want to free yourself. Anything less than love is unacceptable in my life, in my relationships. Same way. This term narcissist is getting thrown around way too much. It's just somebody that hasn't healed their stuff and they're projecting it. But the people that are calling them a narcissist aren't owning their own stuff, so they're saying that the narcissist is the reason for the whole problem. No, it's your own stuff. The only reason anybody is attracting what they call a narcissist is because they're still holding that wound and they're attracting it. If that triggers you, then be willing to look at it because it's the key to your freedom. It's the doorway to your freedom. I don't attract narcissists. So just be willing to look at that. The key is, notice the trigger, ask myself, what is this trying to teach me about me? Because if you're attracting that type of person, there's a reason why, and the reason why is cut and dry. Because you're holding that frequency inside you from a past wound or a belief. So the gift is, what is it that I'm still holding that is attracting that? And then you can clear it, and you won't be attracting those people in your life anymore. So thank you for the questions. Yeah, I walk away. But when you have the awareness and you use these tools, you don't need to just start cutting people out of your life. You can start mirroring people, and a good percentage of them are going to go, oh, I didn't even realize I was just running that same program over and over. Thank you so much for mirroring me. Yeah. So then you become the teacher. It's great. Super, super key. So if anybody has any other questions, I'm getting ready to wrap this up because it's my morning here and I have a call in 15 minutes with somebody that's going through the 30-day course. So if anybody's interested in this, there's a link down below. You can easily just go to the Portal to Awakening website, and then the three options come up: the book, the digital course with the PowerPoint trainings, or journeying one-on-one with me. And I've got 2 spots open for August as of today. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If anybody has any questions and you want to pop it in real quick, I'll stay on for a second. And why we've got 8 people here, why don't we do a collective blast out to the entire planet, since we have 9 people here. So what we'll do is, I'll play a little bit of flute, and I do know Rock. I know of him. He's living in Chiang Mai, where I was for 3.5 years, and now I'm living at the Maladara Retreat Center, which is about a half hour outside of here. So yeah, good guy. So let's do this. Let's take some deep breaths, smile, love on every one of our cells, which is going to raise your frequency. And then you can envision anything that you desire to magnetize into your hologram, your vibrating quantum field, your life. And then we're going to send out love to everybody on the planet that's in fear right now, that doesn't have anybody to talk to, because everybody that they're surrounded by is already in fear and taking the jab or whatever. We're going to send them love. And just by raising your frequency right now on this call, hey Daryl, great to see you. You're going to infect, sorry. That was a subliminal slip right there. You're going to positively affect the consciousness of the planet, which is already going through the roof right now. We just had the Lion's Gate, which may or may not mean anything. The calendar really doesn't mean anything. But it's something that we all get to play with. And when we all agree that the frequencies are high, we raise them up together. So let's do this. I'm going to turn on a little bit of reverb here. Okay. So here we go. So tune in to every cell in your body and smile. I like to put my hands on my heart. And just take some slow, deep breaths and smile. And imagine that all these cells have been loving on you your entire life. How amazing is that? See how much you can smile and really feel that unconditional love. So now we're going to send all this energy, we're going to see it as golden light, or any light of your color. I love purple. Going out and engulfing the whole planet. Here we go. So thank you, everybody, for being on this call. And thank you to everybody that shares these lives. If you know anybody that could use some support, feel free to share it with them. And here's a banner for the 30-day apprenticeship that I take people through, where I really take you through this process and the PowerPoint trainings. And we're in contact at least every other day. It's completely life-changing. I don't know of anything that will shift your reality more powerfully and faster than this course. Once you begin to see the programs, you will never unsee them. So, yes, Rich, I'm still doing my music. Still doing it. Got my guitar here and got all kinds of cool stuff here. So, going to be doing some live transmissions coming up with a looping pedal and creating some continuous loops and stuff. So, thank you for asking. So, much love, everybody. And again, if anybody's interested in doing the course, send me a private message or follow the link below. There's a little questionnaire to figure out. And then we'll hop on a call, see if it's a good match. Have an incredible day or evening wherever you're at. Much love. And I'll be back on Thursday at the same time. All right, everybody. Many blessings. Be well. Stay excited.